Have you ever stopped to think that among colossal tanks and armored jeeps, there are tiny military machines that punch far above their weight? Small, discreet, and incredibly efficient, these vehicles were built to operate in places where others couldn't even move. Now imagine this. Vehicles so compact they fit through narrow trails, crash through thick brush, carry troops, supplies, and even heavy weapons, all that while being so small they could fit in your garage. But here's the real question. What is the smallest off-road military vehicle ever built? And why were these little warriors so valuable to armies around the world? Today, we're going on a journey to discover the 10 smallest off-road military machines most people have never even heard of. Yet each one played a critical role in some of the most extreme situations you can imagine. Stick around until the end because number 1 will completely change the way you think about size, strength, and military mobility. BV-202. Built in Sweden in 1964, the Hägglunds BV-202 was developed to meet the Swedish Army's need to cross deep snow, thick mud, and frozen lakes. Fully articulated in 2 segments, this little beast was made to operate where almost no other vehicle could go. At about 20 feet long, 6 feet wide, and just over 6.5 feet tall, it almost looks like a toy. But don't be fooled. The BV-202 was engineered for extreme environments with that classic Swedish focus on efficiency and durability. It was powered by a 2.8-liter gasoline V6 engine that produced around 82 horsepower. The torque was strong enough to tow other vehicles through deep snow. Despite its compact size, it weighed a little over 5,500 pounds and could carry up to 10 fully equipped soldiers in its rear cabin. It featured full-time traction with continuous rubber tracks on each segment. The articulation between its 2 parts gave it surprising flexibility, allowing it to turn sharply and handle tough obstacles. Its independent suspension helped absorb impacts from snow and mud, keeping the ride stable in uneven terrain. The engine sound was muffled but steady, a low, growling tone built for endurance rather than speed. Anyone who's seen one carving through the snow will tell you it's like watching 2 tracked creatures glide with surgical precision. The BV-202 was used in Arctic operations, border patrol, and logistics support in remote areas. Some versions were even adapted for battlefield medical evacuation. One surprising detail is that the BV-202 was amphibious. It could cross lakes and rivers without needing a bridge or ferry. Impressive, right? The next vehicle carries the legacy of one of the most iconic brands in automotive history. Porsche 597. Yes, Porsche, the brand known for high-end sports cars, once built a military off-roader. In 1953, the German automaker created the Porsche 597, also known as the Yagwagon or hunting car. It was developed to compete in a West German government contest to build a light tactical vehicle in the post-World War II era. At just 11.5 feet long, 5.2 feet wide, and 5.2 feet tall, the Porsche 597 was surprisingly small, especially for a 4-wheel drive vehicle. It was equipped with a 1.6-liter air-cooled flat-4 boxer engine, producing about 50 horsepower. It had enough torque to climb steep hills and handle rugged terrain with ease. The body was made of pressed steel and weighed just under 1,920 pounds. It had selectable 4-wheel drive and a 5-speed manual transmission. Its independent suspension made it comfortable and stable off-road. The real advantage came from its lightweight and rear engine layout, which provided great weight balance. And it didn't stop there. The Porsche 597 was amphibious. It could float and cross small rivers and lakes, an essential feature for troops needing fast, flexible mobility. Visually, it looked like a mix between a compact Jeep and a rugged rally car. The sound of the boxer engine across open terrain gave it a distinct personality, a bit rebellious even. The vehicle never reached full production, but it was extensively tested in military settings. Here's the kicker. Fewer than 60 units were ever built. Today, a Porsche 597 is considered an ultra-rare military collectible. Rare enough for you? Get ready for the next one. It looks like a mountain tractor with the heart of a tank. Hofflinger. Small, light, and designed for tough terrain, the Hofflinger was an Austrian off-road vehicle created by Steyr, Daimler, Puch in 1959. Named after a breed of mountain horse, this little machine lived up to its name. It measured just under 10 feet long, 4.4 feet wide, and 5.2 feet tall. It was one of the smallest 4x4 military vehicles ever built, weighing slightly over 1,300 pounds. That made it easy to lift with a helicopter or even move by hand with two strong soldiers. It had a rear-mounted, two-cylinder, air-cooled engine with 643 cc, delivering around 24 horsepower. While modest in numbers, the torque was more than enough to haul troops and cargo over narrow mountain trails. It came with a manual transmission, low-range gears, and full-time four-wheel drive. The independent suspension, with coil springs, helped it adapt to rocky and steep terrain. The Hofflinger looked like a military golf cart, but its performance was more like a mountain goat. It was used in alpine patrols, border outposts, and isolated military bases, places where traditional jeeps would just get stuck. Here's something few people know. The Hofflinger was the foundation for the legendary Pinzgauer, one of the most respected military vehicles in the world. Think that's impressive? The next one was made to glide over snow, mud, and anything in its path. Weasel M29. During World War II, the United States needed a small, fast vehicle that could move over thick European snow. Studebaker delivered with the M29 Weasel, introduced in 1943. It measured 13 feet long, 5 feet wide, and 5.6 feet tall. At first glance, it looked like a tank without a turret, but its speed and agility more than made up for its simple appearance. The M29 had a 2.2-liter inline-six engine that produced about 70 horsepower. Weighing just over 2,200 pounds, it could slide over snow without sinking. It ran on tracked propulsion with support wheels and a steering system that worked similarly to a tank. The sound it made was sharp and metallic, especially at higher speeds. Its primary role was to transport troops and supplies through snow or swampy terrain. And yes, it was amphibious. Soldiers could use it to cross frozen rivers or flooded zones without a bridge. After the war, many of these were sold as surplus. They found second lives on farms, in forests, and even at ski resorts across North America. Enjoyed that mini tank on tracks? Get ready. The next one is one of the most versatile platforms ever built by the British Army. ATMP Mark III. Produced in the United Kingdom during the 1980s, the ATMP Mark III, short for All-Terrain Mobility Platform, was like a military surfboard on wheels. The name says it all. It was built to go anywhere. At 11.2 feet long, 6.5 feet wide, and just 4.2 feet tall, the ATMP looked like a scaled-down tractor. It weighed a little over 2,200 pounds, but could carry up to 2,200 pounds of cargo, literally its own weight. It used a 1.6-liter gasoline four-cylinder engine producing about 52 horsepower. That was enough torque to tow light artillery and haul gear through hostile environments. It had six-wheel drive and a basic but reliable suspension system built to maintain traction in rough terrain. Its design was all about purpose: no cabin, low side panels, open controls. The engine had a deep, grumbling tone, kind of like a giant lawnmower with attitude. It was used for rapid deployment of supplies, weapons, and medical evacuations in areas where traditional trucks couldn't go. Its low profile made it perfect for airdrops and jungle or desert missions. And here's a little-known fact. The ATMP was one of the first military vehicles ever tested for autonomous driving, all the way back in the 1990s for remote ammunition transport. Liking this deep dive into the world of compact military machines? And don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a mission like this one. The next vehicle on our list is about to take things to another level. Kraka 640. In the mid-1970s, West Germany needed a tactical vehicle that was easy to transport, lightweight, and versatile enough to handle everything from logistical support to missile launching. The answer came in the form of the Kraka 640, a vehicle as compact as it was clever. It measured just 11.8 feet long, 5.2 feet wide, and 4.2 feet tall. It looked more like a skeleton on wheels than a traditional vehicle built by Fawn. This little marvel could be airdropped or lifted by helicopter, something that was nearly impossible with most military vehicles of the time. Its rear-mounted two-cylinder engine had about 644 cc and produced a modest 25 horsepower. That might sound small, but considering it weighed just under 1,940 pounds and could carry over 1,650 pounds of cargo, it was more than enough. It featured four-wheel drive with a manual transmission and simple but effective suspension built to handle rough terrain. One of its standout features was its ability to fold down for transport, almost like a military-grade folding cart. With no doors, no cabin, and exposed framework, it was all function and no fluff. But that stripped-down design made it agile, fast, and highly adaptable. It was widely used by Germany's airborne units, and some variants were even equipped with anti-tank missile launchers. One famous test took place on a closed ski slope in the Alps. A Kraka transported a full mortar system down a steep incline and was able to come to a full stop at the bottom without losing control. If that folding design got your attention, get ready for the next machine that looks like it was made to cross swamps or conquer all of Eastern Europe. Luaz 967. Built at the height of the Cold War, the Luaz 967 is one of the most unusual military vehicles ever created by the Soviet Union. It was designed specifically for medevac and light transport in swampy terrain, minefields, and areas too dangerous for larger vehicles. It measured 11.5 feet long, 6 feet wide, and just 4.4 feet tall. It sat incredibly low to the ground and weighed only about 2,100 pounds. That low weight and flat body allowed it to float across water, making it fully amphibious. The air-cooled inline four-cylinder engine had around 900 cc's and produced 37 horsepower. Not a powerhouse, but with full-time four-wheel drive and steady torque, it could crawl out of mud pits and maneuver through terrain that would stop heavier vehicles in their tracks. The suspension was independent, and the gearbox came with low-range gears for extreme conditions. Despite its compact size, it could carry 2 stretchers and full medical gear. It looked like a military raft on wheels. It could be operated by a single soldier and was ideal for river crossings, swamp rescues, and stealth operations. Because of its low profile and lightweight, it could even move through minefields without triggering pressure mines. One rarely mentioned feature is the folding steering wheel. It could be tucked into the dashboard, allowing the operator to lie flat inside the vehicle for covert nighttime rescue missions. If you like survival machines with brains and grit, the next one is an American classic used across battlefields, jungles, and airstrips around the world. M274 Mule. When the U.S. Army needed a compact and efficient way to carry supplies, weapons, and wounded soldiers through tight, rugged terrain, they created the M274 Mule. This flatbed platform may look simple, but it had the heart of a workhorse. It was only 10 feet long, 5 feet wide, and 3.2 feet tall. So small and low to the ground that 2 people could literally push it by hand. But when the engine kicked in, it lived up to its name and became a true pack mule. It was powered by a 2-cylinder gasoline engine in the rear, producing about 16 horsepower. Weighing just under 880 pounds, it could carry nearly 1,000 pounds of cargo without breaking a sweat. The Mule had 4-wheel drive and 4-wheel steering. That meant both front and rear axles turned, making it incredibly nimble in tight spaces. Its suspension was basic but strong enough to handle jungle paths, desert trails, and combat zones. It had a flat, open platform and could carry anything from ammo boxes and radio gear to small cannons and even mounted machine guns. In some missions during the Vietnam War, mules were outfitted with rocket launchers or anti-aircraft guns and operated by a single soldier like a mobile fire team. Extreme enough for you? Then hold tight, because the next entry is a civilian car turned covert military tool with just 3 wheels. Reliant Robin. This might sound like a joke, but it's real. The Reliant Robin, the iconic 3-wheeled British car, was secretly adapted for military use during the 1980s. It was mainly used for undercover operations and light patrols in urban areas like Northern Ireland. It measured 11 feet long, 5 feet wide, and 4.2 feet tall. It was so light, just over 1,000 pounds, that 4 soldiers could lift it if needed. Its fiberglass body and basic frame made it incredibly easy to transport and maintain. It used an 850cc four-cylinder engine, producing around 40 horsepower. That gave it enough speed to reach up to 80 miles per hour, though its real advantage was maneuverability and stealth in civilian areas. Used primarily by intelligence units, it was perfect for blending in. On the outside, it looked like an ordinary city car. On the inside, it could carry encrypted radios, secure documents, and hidden storage compartments. The engine was quiet, ideal for night ops. It had rear-wheel drive and a basic suspension system. Known for tipping over in sharp turns, it required trained drivers, especially during high-risk situations. And here's a surprising fact. One Robin was reportedly modified with hidden internal armor and used as a getaway vehicle during a simulated hostage rescue drill. Nothing, and I mean nothing, prepares you for the last vehicle on our list. It's armored, tiny, and built for the battlefield from the ground up. Renault UE, tankette. We're closing out the list with the incredible Renault UE. This French tankette was introduced in 1932, originally designed as a light ammunition carrier. In practice, it became a battlefield support vehicle used in real combat. At just 9.2 feet long, 5.6 feet wide, and 4.1 feet tall, the Renault UE was smaller than most modern compact cars, yet it was fully armored from top to bottom. It weighed about 5,700 pounds and had a four-cylinder gasoline engine that delivered 85 horsepower. Its torque allowed it to pull trailers, tow anti-tank guns, and carry critical battlefield supplies. The wide tracks and leaf spring suspension gave it strong traction across mud, craters, and ruined terrain. Its frontal armor could deflect small arms fire, and it was often mistaken for a full-size tank by enemy forces due to its low profile and tracked movement. The sound of its metal tracks grinding against the ground was unmistakable. Inside, the cramped space fit two crew members with just enough room to operate under fire. The Renault UE became a symbol of French resistance early in the war. Many units were later captured and repurposed by German forces for transport and support roles. Here's a little-known story. One Renault UE was used to carry hot food from a field kitchen to the front lines during a week-long siege. It quietly rolled through the mud and bullets, delivering meals to starving soldiers under fire. From the frozen landscapes of Scandinavia to the swamps of Southeast Asia, from mountain trails to urban alleyways, these small machines proved one thing: size doesn't define strength. Each one was designed with a purpose. Whether it was transporting the wounded, delivering supplies, or navigating terrain that would stop bigger vehicles cold. These aren't just machines. They're engineering solutions that pushed the limits and earned their place in military history. Now it's your turn. Which of these vehicles impressed you the most? Which one would you love to drive or own as part of a military collection? And if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss an episode. Every week, we explore the most extreme, rare, and unbelievable machines ever built for the world's toughest environments. See you in the next video.